All right, here we go. Brand new Flyers Daily for the 16th of August, 2024. Flyers Daily, as always, presented by Ticketmaster. Make more memories live. We're actually going to put a wrap on our development camp conversation series in this episode. Our final one will be with Flyers forward prospect Alex Bump. He was supposed to go to Vermont last year. Ended up deciding at the last minute to change his plans, and he did head last year to Western Michigan. So we'll talk to Alex Bump. I thought it was pretty funny because you look at his Hockey DB page and you see his picture. Looks like that picture was from when he was drafted, and that's just 2 years ago. He was a 2022 draft pick, fifth round, 133rd overall. And the guy looks totally different from that picture to now. It's almost amazing that it's the same person. It just shows you how much can change in just a couple of years' time. So we'll get to Alex Bump coming up in a couple of minutes. We featured on Wednesday's episode a lot of conversation about Joel Farabee and about, the faith and really kind of, the stock value on Farabee for a large majority of the fan base is that it's a down stock right now. And we went through some of the numbers and we looked at a lot of the reasons why that may be the case, although I think maybe some of it unwarranted. Had some really interesting YouTube comments as well, and got a couple of DMs and tweets about it. Farabee, this is a really important year for Joel Farabee. And this all stems off of our conversation we began on Monday with Bill Meltzer and the top 10 question marks of the 23-24 season. And, Farabee and his development, along with Tippett, Cates, Frost, and Jamie Drysdale, was kind of what led us off on that direction. So in this episode, I actually wanted to look at Jamie Drysdale because this is a really important player for a bunch of reasons. First and foremost, let's not bury the lead. He's an important player to work out for the Flyers because of what they traded in that acquisition to get him. Now, none of us saw it coming. I think it was sometime in January where all of a sudden in the press box, somebody came up to me and said, O'Connor from PHLY said to me, "Are you on Twitter?" I said, "No." He goes, "Get on Twitter." And that's when the news broke that the Flyers had traded Cutter Gauthier to Anaheim and that Jamie Drysdale was the main piece coming back. And it was a shock. We're all planning on getting Gauthier, this high-flying winger that certainly can score, had a really good World Juniors and everything that went with it. And all of a sudden, we come to find out he doesn't want to be here. He had cut off communication, but Jamie Drysdale's coming back. And the other way is part of the deal. And Drysdale, a former 6th overall draft pick by the Anaheim Ducks back in the 2020 draft, and a guy that is a right-shot defenseman. High pedigree, right-shot defenseman that can skate like the wind. I go, okay. Well, if you're going to trade a high-end piece, you got to get something that's a tough thing to get, and that's Drysdale. Now, when you look at Drysdale, and you look at what he's accomplished, so far in the NHL, he's played 147 games. He's got 10 goals, 40 assists, and 50 points in that time. Now, the thing about it is that you go, well, it's not a ton of games for a 22-year-old, but I think there's some games that he played in the NHL before he was ready on a team that maybe he shouldn't have been up playing with that quickly. But can't do anything about that. That's over. That's in the rear view. In his rookie year with the Anaheim Ducks, he played 21 games, or 2021, that was the season. Of course, that is the shortened season. He played 24 games, 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points in that stretch. Also that year, he played 14 games for the San Diego Gulls. So he dipped his toe in the water, got a little NHL action, went out that offseason, came back, played 81 games in the 21-22 season. Had 4 goals, 28 assists, 32 points. That's a really nice year, by the way, in 2021, or 21-22 rather, in 81 games to walk away with 32 points at that position on that team, which was not a good team. So those are really good numbers. He played a good amount of minutes, too, just under 20 minutes a game, 1953. And you're looking at a player that's 19 years old on a blue line being asked to really contribute a lot and play an important role. And I think he had a really good year. Now, the problem for Jamie Drysdale is that after he played that 24 games and that 81 games in 21-22 season, he's only played in 42 games since. So that's 3 years, and he's played in a half a season's games. So 3 goals, 7 assists, 10 points in those 42 games. And therein lies the big question mark. Therein lies some of the risk with him being the acquisition piece for a high-end prospect that you had in Cutter Gauthier. Now, if he can stay healthy, I say it all the time, what's the most important ability? It's availability. I don't give a damn how good you are if you're not available. So you can have all the ability in the world. If you don't have availability, I don't care. So he's got to stay healthy. And that's a big element of it. And beyond just he's got to stay healthy, he is now going into a year where he's 22 years old. He turned 22 on April 8th, right at the end of the season, with a week to go. Now, you look at him now, he's 22 years old. It's time to start making big jumps. But to make those jumps, you got to stay healthy because you can't develop off the ice. You got to develop on the ice with where he is in his development arc as a professional player. So he's got to develop on the ice. So he's got to be available. And this is going to be a really interesting thing to watch this year with his arc of development, with a full year, a summer, and a taste last year. Played 24 games for the Flyers last year, was here longer than that, missed some games, was here about basically half the season. He's now speaking the same language as Brad Shaw. And to me, the most important element of what Brad Shaw is going to do this year has nothing to do with the penalty kill, although he's a good penalty kill coach. It's what he's able to do with Jamie Drysdale, because that's the long-term play. Like, the penalty kill is an in-season thing and blah, 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 blah. Jamie Drysdale and his development is the long play, because you got him for Cutter Gauthier. So you got to do well. Nobody wanted to lose Gauthier, myself included. But this is the situation you're in. I think you got to make the most of a really kind of crappy situation. That's what the Flyers are trying to do. But that's going to be incumbent upon Drysdale to stay healthy and develop this year. And Brad Shaw is going to be a huge, huge part of that. Now, there is something about Drysdale that I saw last year when he got here, and I've seen this summer, even though we haven't been around him, is the camaraderie that he's developed very quickly with Cam York and a lot of the Flyers' young players. Tyson Forster, Joel Farabee, Ryan Poehling, Owen Tippett. These guys are hanging out with each other all summer. And I remember when Drysdale came here, and it was about a week and a half after he got here was the All-Star break. And a lot of the guys were going down to Mexico. And they were like, you got to come with us. And he's like, nah, I just got here. I should get settled, blah, blah, blah. So they just bought him a plane ticket and brought him down there. And he has fit in the group beautifully. That's a good thing. I will tell you that those off-ice relationships do matter. Ultimately, they're not the straw that breaks the camel's back, but they are important. And he has fit in really well. He's a guy that grew up more on the East Coast than he did on the West Coast, even though he played in Anaheim. Did grow up out this way in Canada, on the eastern side, not on the western side. So this is a really, really important player for the Flyers rebuild. Like, hugely important. I don't know that Drysdale is a top pairing right side defenseman. I don't. I have my doubts about that. I think that he would be best suited. I think he'd be really effective on a second pair, with Travis Sanheim in particular on his left side. I think you'd have two really good get-up-and-go defensemen, guys that can defend pretty well. Not the most spectacular defenders, but guys that would really throw a balanced pairing together out there for the Flyers. Two guys that can jump in the play, one guy can stay home. I think that they can play with a lot of pace, those two together. To me, I think that's the long-term fit for Jamie Drysdale, and I think that's the long-term fit for Travis Sanheim. I don't think Sanheim's a top-pairing right-side guy as a left-hand shot. I don't. But you got to find the top-pairing guy before you're going to move him to the left side on the second pair. So Drysdale just going to be a massively important story to watch all season long, and I'm really interested to see what he looks like right out of the jump in camp. Did have a surgery right after the season, had some things cleaned up. Said he wasn't healthy at all last year and that he was limited in his skating. I think we saw that maybe a little bit, but, I mean, you still see a player that's got just such fluidity in the way he skates. Like, you watch guys like him skate. You watch Owen Tippett skate. You watch the great skaters in this league. Go back to Paul Coffey. Like, you watch those guys skate. It's not even like they're doing anything. Their body is just kind of moving so effortlessly. It's incredible. Drysdale's one of those guys, just skates incredibly well. So, big, huge storyline this season for Jamie Drysdale. Real quick, before we get to Alex Bump, Flyers did make an organizational signing yesterday. They signed to the Lehigh Valley Phantoms Keith Petruzzelli. Petruzzelli was a third-round draft pick in the 2017 NHL entry draft, 88th overall by the Detroit Red Wings. Played at Quinnipiac, spent a year in the USHL, but played 4 years at Quinnipiac. Had some pretty good years. His last 2 years, I mean, his junior season in 1920 had a .920 save percentage, and in the 2021 season, he had a .926 save percentage. Saw some time in the ECHL with Newfoundland, played a bunch of AHL games in the Toronto organization for the Marlies, including last year. Did not have a good year last year. Let's just call it what it is. An .867 save percentage in the AHL. Not good. .881 in 7 games in the ECHL. He needs to change the scenery, and he needs to find a different gear to his game, or he's not going to last much longer. But the Flyers signed him, and I know a lot of people, when they saw this on social media, said, oh, that means that Alexei Kolosov is not coming over. No, it doesn't. I don't know if Kolosov is coming over, but this signing has zero, I can assure you, zero impact on him coming over or not. To me, it's most likely Petruzzelli, even though he played 17 games last year in the AHL. If Kolosov's here, he just goes right to the ECHL. If he's not here, maybe he sticks up and stays a little bit and tries to develop in the AHL, in the Flyers organization. But this is no replacement plan for Alexei Kolosov. It's so far from that. I don't know if Kolosov, I haven't heard anything on this front in a while. I haven't heard that Kolosov is attending any kind of KHL camp, and they're underway because their season starts rather soon, the end of this month, I believe. Certainly early September. So we'll see. But this, I don't think this has any impact on the Kolosov situation as the Flyers sign Keith Petruzzelli. He's a big boy, 6'5", 185. He's 25 years of age. He'll be 26 coming up on February 9th of 2025. So welcome Keith Petruzzelli to Philadelphia by way of Massachusetts. All right, let's get to our final. This is our last one of our development camp conversations. We have had some really good conversations. You want to go back and check out any of the ones, whether it was with Den Varkey, Oliver Bonk, or Massimo Rizzo. I mean, we talked to a ton of guys and had some really interesting conversations and to get to know these young players, and that's a good thing. So here's my conversation with the Flyers 2022 fifth-round pick. He was taken in that draft at 133rd overall, Alex Bump. Flyers Daily at Prospect Camp as we get ready for the off-season workouts and ultimately a Prospects game coming up a week from now. And joining us from the camp right now is Alex Bump, fifth-round pick in 2022. How you doing, Al?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. How's the year been? I know it was a little bit of a different kind of start to the season for you. Some plans changed, but you ended up at Western Michigan. How was it?
It was great. Obviously I changed plans late in the summer. Chose to go to Western Michigan, and I think it's probably one of the best decisions I've made in my life, in my career. So, I'm really happy I ended up there, and it's just getting started.
As a Minnesota kid, you're a little closer to home there, too. Is that part of the decision?
A little bit, but, not too big. I had the chance to stay in Minnesota. Didn't really want to. Thought it was going to be best for me to get out of state, start living on my own for a little bit, because that'll obviously develop me to get ready when I have to come here at some point. It was in the decision for sure, but definitely not what made it.
Very successful offensive season, 14 goals, 22 assists, 36 points in 38 games. What's the jump in your game? You and I sat last year and spoke, and what's the difference between your play from that time to now? What's grown in your game?
I think my frame.
I'll just say you look bigger.
Yeah, I look bigger for sure. I think I've just kind of filled out my frame too. I think it would be harder for guys to push me off the puck, especially in the NCHC. It's a grind.
Yeah.
Guys are bigger there. I'm playing against full-grown men, but honestly, just confidence too. Just knowing that I'm able to compete and play with those guys every day and every night really helps just my play in general.
How much did being in this prospect camp last year, kind of having that situational awareness, feeling it on the ice with other top players and drafted players and guys up to 23 years of age here, help you to take, I know what it takes to go to that level because I experienced a taste of it in some way, and then take that into your season?
Yeah, I mean, watching guys like Brink, Forrester last year, seeing how they carry themselves on and off the ice, really showed me kind of a perspective, I guess, in a way, to see just what I can do to do better. And I think just like watching them kind of carry themselves is really big, important to me. I think
you get in like a board battle with Forrester, you realize like his stick in board battles is he's heavy on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just got. They kind of taught me how to be heavy. I'm a bigger guy, bigger frame, kind of have to be heavy, and especially if you want to play in the NHL, you're not going to be soft and you got to be heavy. So
and the guy watching him this year, you see nobody going through the hands to get pucks off of him. Skating and working on burst is obviously a big thing too. Is that a big focus of your off season?
Yeah, just skating in general. You can't be too good at skating. I mean. Watching McDavid just kind of fly
ridiculous.
Around. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you can get somewhere close to that, even it's a big change in how you and like the way you play. But yeah, I mean, skating has been a big piece of me this summer, just to get better at that, and make it easier on myself.
Would you do after the season? Do you do anything to kind of get off the ice for a period of time before you get back on the ice, or are you one of those guys that doesn't matter, you're on the ice all the time?
I probably took like a week or so.
Oh.
But I mean, I was there's nothing too crazy, but I was ready to get back here, and I came here.
You want to come in ready.
I want to come in ready, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think the summer's a big piece of just always trying to get better. Because if you're not getting better, you're just getting worse. So
feel more comfortable, just more familiar as you come back again this year.
Totally.
That's a big thing, right?
Yep. Even like last year, like I had some familiarity, but this year is way different. I feel like I'm the old guy here.
Yeah.
But I'm not the old guy. I'm only 20 years old. So.
But you see the look on the first timers' faces, and you're like,
exactly what I said to one of the guys here. I was like, I was the same way. I was super scared. Like I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah. Where's the bathroom? Where's the shower? Where do I?
Exactly.
All
Where
that
is
stuff.
everything? Where do I go? But then, I mean. Even like when I was walking up here, I was like, I know where to go, kind of.
Yeah. And there's a comfort in that.
Exactly.
For sure.
It makes you way more comfortable.
Yeah. Well, Alex, I can't wait to watch it throughout this week and then coming up for the prospect game as well. I know you flashed in that game last year as we did the broadcast on YouTube. Hopefully you can do that once again. Thanks for doing this. Enjoy the camp.
Thank you.
Alex Bump for taking the time to join us on our Flyers Development Camp Conversations. He puts a bow on it, and he'll be heading back to Western Michigan for his sophomore year. Pretty good freshman year. 38 games played, 14 goals, 22 assists, 36 points, and a +7. So good move by him to go there, and played a pretty significant role for Western Michigan this past year. So we'll keep an eye on him as he goes through his hockey journey and his sophomore year at Western Michigan University. Everybody have a great weekend. Bill Meltzer will join us coming up on Monday. We'll tackle the final 5 of the Flyers' biggest question marks heading into the 2024-25 NHL season. We'll do that with Bill coming up on Monday, so join us then on a brand new Flyers Daily.